Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. Speed up China's chip manufacturing and curb its rapid growth. The United States not only provided TSMC, and Samsung with $52 billion in subsidies, but also put pressure on Chinese companies to build factories in the United States. The United States first sanctioned Huawei and ZTE, and then banned China's high-end chips. But the US move is obviously self-destructive. The US suppression of Chinese chips has caused heavy losses to Intel and Qualcomm. TSMC, which is suffering from wafer manufacturing, is also facing the dilemma of declining revenue. Now that the United States is increasingly imposing an embargo on chips, I don't know how many people are beginning to worry about the supply of chips, and even don't hesitate to spend $52 billion to develop the domestic semiconductor industry. As far as the current situation is concerned, countries around the world are stepping up their disposal of the domestic integrated circuit industry, trying to establish an industrial chain and control the entire semiconductor industry. 87 Chinese companies, including Huawei, have established the China IC Alliance. 17 EU member states have invested €65 billion to establish the European IC Alliance. South Korea has invested tens of billions of dollars to build the world's first IC manufacturing center, etc. Japanese photoresist, Dutch lithography machines, American EDA tools, Chinese etching machines, etc. constitute the global wafer industry chain. However, this global chip market is shaky. What is most troubling to the United States is China's technology in semiconductors, and China's technology in this area has advanced rapidly and has the ability to mass produce. According to published data, Chinese semiconductor companies, including SMIC, have purchased more than 1,400 lithography equipment from ASML, most of which are needed for China to manufacture chips. As Chinese chip manufacturers, such as SMIC and Huahong, have invested in factories one after another, China's silicon wafer production has steadily increased. According to public data, China's wafer production will reach 98 billion pieces in the first quarter of 2022, an increase of about 40% year-on-year. In addition, the Chinese government has given a large number of tax breaks and subsidies to China's semiconductor industry, and has established a large-scale fund with an investment of $340 billion to help it overcome technical difficulties such as lithography. Including the first two items, China's total investment in the semiconductor industry has reached $600 billion, not including private and local companies. It can be seen that China's semiconductor industry has entered a period of rapid development. Seeing the rapid growth of Chinese tablet computers, many foreign media have criticized TSMC. foreign media are not optimistic about TSMC's future. This is mainly because TSMC has failed to build a factory in the United States, and the integrated circuit industry chain has begun to slow down. It is almost impossible to maintain its current leading position. The US government gave TSMC a subsidy of $6.6 billion to attract TSMC to build a factory in the United States. In addition, due to factors on the US side, many TSMC orders were transferred to large companies such as Intel. Although the United States has repeatedly invited TSMC to build a factory in the United States, it does not regard TSMC as an ally. This news was released after the US report that ASML had promised that if necessary, it would remotely paralyze TSMC's lithography equipment to meet US needs. Most of TSMC's lithography technology comes from ASML. If TSMC loses control, it will cause a disruption in chip mass production. TSMC is highly dependent on ASML lithography machines, and many of TSMC's high-end chips must be imported from the United States. If the United States imposes comprehensive sanctions on TSMC, then TSMC will have a hard time. In addition, as Chinese companies such as Huawei signed contracts, TSMC also received more orders from American companies, which means that if American semiconductor companies decide to move orders to other countries, TSMC will face huge revenue losses. In fact, due to the US blockade of Chinese chips, the US influence in the chip industry is gradually shrinking, and many companies have suffered huge losses. In this case, if the US once again attacks TSMC, not only the US, but the entire world's semiconductor industry will suffer a heavy blow.